Hello everyone, and welcome to the Retro Seller, where in today's episode we'll be taking a look at another handheld console, not like the usual ones we have a tendency to cover on here by companies like Ambernick and Powkitty. So this will be the first one by the company Miyoo. They've done a couple handheld consoles before this one, but the one we will be covering is the Miyoo Mini Plus. So before we take a look at it, let's talk about its specs. Its CPU is an ARM Cortex-A7 dual-core 1.2G. Its memory is a 128 megabyte RAM DDR3. It's running Linux as its operating system. The screen, which is actually a pretty nice screen, there's not much bezel space around it, and it's a good size in relation to the console itself. It is a 3.5-inch IPS screen running at 640 by 480 resolution. Its battery is a 3000 milliamp lithium battery that should get you around 5 hours-ish of play time. The systems that it emulates on it are the PS1, the WonderSwan Color, the Neo Geo Pocket, all the Game Boys, including the original Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Famicom, Super Famicom, Mega Drive, Game Gear, Sega Master System, and the PC Engine. So that's it for the specs. So why don't we take a look at it, look at what comes with it in the box, take a look at the menu, and as usual, play a few games on it, and see if this is something that you want to add to your little mini handheld game collection. Here's our look at the Miyoo Mini box. And much like some of Ambernick's boxes or even a few of the Powkitties, it's sort of a bare bones, no frills kind of box. It's nice quality if that's your thing. And basically the only thing on the outside of the box, it covers the specs that I mentioned in the beginning. Although it does mention here that it also supports Wi-Fi. I haven't really messed around with it. I'm sure you can use it for things like uploading the firmware and whatnot. But like I said, we won't really get into that. But let's open this puppy up. And first, let's pull out this little thing. That's what she said. Set that off to the side. And what you get inside of it is the USB-C charging cable. Like most of these, you don't get a brick with it, but if you're like most people, you probably have a couple dozen of these things laying around the house anyway. And you get a USB flash drive, which I don't ever really use these for anything regarding these consoles, but I imagine you can use it to update firmware or transfer ROMs over or whatnot. Again, I don't use these for anything. And let's see if we get anything else in it. We get a screen protector that comes in handy. Some wipes to help clean off your screen. And here is the rather extensive manual. It's not a crappy one like you see on most of these things. But it basically covers what all the buttons do, how to install games, how to install the firmware. Basically, it says use the TF card. Basic functions. And if you want to learn Chinese, you got it here too. So that's enough of that. And here is the Miyoo Mini Plus, and let's just take a look around at it. Again, here's the screen, very nice size one, small bezel like I said. The D-pad, it's a nice D-pad. It's not that big for my thumb size, but it's a good quality. Buttons are decent, they're not mushy or anything, they're not overly clicky. Here you select your start. This is your reset or your menu button. And on the back here, you have your right and your left trigger buttons. If you look here, is actually a neat touch here. They're not level, So you have this one a little bit lower than this one, so that is easier for you to distinguish between the two, so you don't accidentally hit the one next to it. Neat little touch. On this side, you have your volume control. Over here, you have your SD card slot. This is for you to connect earphones to it. And here is your USB-C charging port. On the top, you have your power button. You can actually press and hold this power button, and it gives you a shutdown option, which is different from a lot of handhelds like this. But another way you could do is to go into settings and power it down that way. But now, as far as the rest of the build quality, I really like the plastic on it. It's not cheap plastic. It has a matte finish to it, so it's not going to show fingerprints. And you can grip it a lot better than the shinier kind of plastics. And that's the one thing I really like about it. It's good quality. The screen is, like I said, it's a good quality. Now, as far as the comfort of it, I don't have massive sausage finger hands, but they're not small. So this isn't horribly comfortable, just the way you kind of have to hold this. Got my fingers down here to support it, holding trigger buttons. It's not very ergonomic, sorry. But it's awkward, and actually just holding it for a little bit, this thumb in particular gets a little sore. So if you're playing this for an extended period of time, your hands may cramp up a little bit. If you have smaller hands, it might not be a problem. It won't be a problem for kids, really. But like I said, this isn't really like a long-term kind of thing. But that's our look at it. How about we turn it on and look at the menu? And here is that menu. As you can see, this is also customizable. So you can change it to a couple different options than what you see here. But you have your list of recent games, your favorites. This is your list of games. This is where you can go into RetroArch. These are your apps. If you can read Chinese, that's groovy. But it's got like a file explorer, and it's got some games actually in here. I haven't really messed around with that. Don't quite know how they have it here. This appears to be a movie of some sort, I guess. And you can set your clock, and like I said, there's some more games. Not really much use of anything here, but nevertheless, it's there. Here are your settings. This is where you can power off the system, adjust the brightness, connect the Wi-Fi, adjust your colors, your language, map your buttons on it, which is nice. Adjust your volume. This is where you can change your themes. The one I currently have is my favorite one. I like this one, Prawn Hub. Actually, let's look at that one. I don't know what that means. I think you do. But that's kind of weird. Not a fan. So as we said in the beginning, these are the emulators it's running. Famicom, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Mega Drive, Super Famicom, PlayStation 1, Master System, WonderSwan Color, PC Engine, Neo Geo Pocket. Oh, it does have some Ataris in there. You didn't see that before. It says the 2600 and 7800. Arcade, Final Burn Neo, FF Play, which is actually a Street Fighter movie, I think. We won't look at that. MAME 2010, MAME Plus, Neo Geo, Pico Drive, and Sega Master System Plus. So why don't we play a few games and see how good this performs, and we'll call it a day. If you hit this menu button here, this takes you to this screen where you continue, save a game, load a game, look at the native menu, net play, which I believe you would need the Wi-Fi for that, and how you would also exit a game. So let's look at the native menu just to see what you got in there. Here's where you're kind of into RetroArch here, where you could look at the saves, loads, all that kind of stuff. Make some adjustments to it. Controls, cheats, which you would have to load them. It doesn't look like there's any on this system here. So it's interesting how they did this, but in the arcade menu, it has CPS 1, 2, and 3, and various other arcade games. Kind of weird that they didn't separate the CPS ones.
Ready. Fight! First attack!
I think you get the general gist of this thing. So why don't we wrap it up by playing a little bit of Neo Geo Art of Fighting. And that was our look at the Miyoo Mini Plus. Probably should have mentioned at the beginning, like I usually do, about how much this thing costs. You can get it on AliExpress for anywhere between $45 and $50. Again, just shop around. Haven't really seen it anywhere cheaper than that. So roughly around there. So it's not horribly expensive for what it is. But overall, it's not a bad console. And it's right up there in quality as the Ambronix, maybe even a little bit better than some of the Powkiddy stuff out there. But overall, I like it. I've been playing the crap out of it over the last couple weeks that I've had it. So it must be pretty good. It's very pocketable because of its size. And as I said, the build quality is really good on it. I'm glad I got it, and I will get a lot of use out of it, and you probably will too. But that should wrap this up. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.